Alright, what's going on, guys? We got a trade recap today for Monday, March 10th. Took one loss and one win on the day, so I'm up around half an R on the day because I took a loss before I took the win, but still in profit on the day. So we're gonna go over my bias, what I was looking for coming into the market open. So clearly the higher time frames are all bearish. The whole markets are bearish. That's obvious. That's nothing new. We knew that coming into this morning. Now in the 4-hour chart, we don't have any actually higher time frame for value gaps when it comes to daily. There's no sort of daily for value gaps that we could potentially retrace to. The only higher time frame for value gaps we have within this range is this weekly for value gap. And after breaking structure on the weekly, let's see, below this swing low here, displacing on the weekly, I'm now looking for this weekly sell side to get taken. That's my draw on liquidity until the market tells me otherwise. And then going to the 4-hour chart, we had no sort of 4-hour imbalances, so I'm scaled into the, now if we wanted to potentially see a retrace of this weekly fair value gap, I would need to see this 4-hour balance, which has already gotten tapped into, get ran through, and then a 4-hour market structure shift above these highs here, and then we could target that weekly imbalance. That's more for the later into the week. We'll have to see what happens, but my draw is obviously lower. All the higher time frames are bearish. Now scaling into the 1-hour time frame, I noticed we opened up this 1-hour fair value gap overnight right here, and then we also had a new week opening gap marked out by these blue lines right here. This is the new week, new day opening gap. I thought there was potential. There actually is potential right now. We're currently having SMT at this 1-hour low. I don't know if it's going to hold or not, but let's say this SMT does hold, could potentially come back up and target this new week, new day opening gap, because that's a very, very strong draw on liquidity. But within this, we already had structure form within this 1-hour fair value gap and started to displace out of it right here, and closed below this significant swing low and continued to get downwards price action. So this 1-hour sell side liquidity was my clear draw on liquidity, and this is our, in this instance, higher time frame market maker sell model on the 1-hour chart. So then scaling into the 5-minute, once market opens, I'm looking for a tap into a 5-minute fair value gap. I'm looking for displacement. I'm looking for an internal model. And once market opens, right here, we originally come up and tap into this 5-minute fair value gap right here. Let's just go back into market replay. So we have this 5-minute fair value gap right here. Boom. This is the first trade that I took. I'm looking for this 5-minute to get tapped into and then see displacement to the downside, and potentially to take out this sell side liquidity. So we come up, boom, we tap it, and we immediately dump to the downside. Now normally I would want to see like a tap into this 5-minute fair value gap and then an inverse within the range of the sell model, something like this, go short after we inverse a bullish fair value gap to this internal low here. But we didn't get that. We tapped into it and immediately got this big bearish candle closing below this swing low here. So after we get that, we also have an SMT. The original SMT was at this high right here with ES. So this was the original trade. We tapped into it, had this SMT at the highs, opened up this 1-minute fair value gap right here. And at this point, I'm expecting this 1-minute, I'm expecting this sell side, this 1-hour sell side liquidity to get tapped into very, very fast right upon market open. This is what we've seen recently in the market. we take the external liquidity very, very quick without any sort of pullbacks. And after this sort of displacement, after tapping into this 5-minute, after having this SMT at the highs, I was more than willing to take this short right here to this sell side liquidity and tap into this 1 minute, if we tapped into this 1 minute bearish fair value gap. So that's what actually happened. We came up, tapped into it, slightly closed above it, but I stayed in the trade. And then we eventually started to move down a little bit and then came back up and stopped us out right here. So that was the first L, but it actually set us up for the winning trade. But it's not really like it's not like I could have known that, you know. Yes, technically, it wasn't the highest quality trade just because the internal model was technically already taken. But like I said, I expected this 1 hour sell side to get taken very fast, and yeah, I expected I don't really regret this trade at all. It's more of a market open volatility type of trade that I had confidence in because of the SMT, and because we had already tapped into this 5-minute fair value gap. But then we come back up to this 5-minute fair value gap and turtle soup this high within the 5-minute. We then put in an SMT at the highs. We can go to ES real quick. See, ES took this high. There was actually a small 15-minute fair value gap that ES tapped into right here. So we have that turtle soup right here. We take this high, put in the SMT, and then ES runs through this bullish fair value gap. So ES has inverse this as well. And at this point, I'm looking for displacement to the downside so that I can execute if we get the structure to execute on, if we have the confirmation to do so. So I'm still looking to get short. My overall higher time frame bias is still bearish. We have another SMT at the highs, which is what gives me confidence in this trade. So we come down and we open up this 1 minute fair value gap right here. And so I have my limit order set on this fair value gap, stops above the SMT high, just to be safe, because this would now be the protected high. And then if we go continue in price, we tap into the 1 minute fair value gap, and then you can see we immediately get bearish reactions to the downside. At this point, I'm very confident that we're going to go take this quickly, and so I was hoping to see another bearish fair value gap open so that I could move my stops above this swing high here and add potentially to increase my risk. And we can see that we did open up this one. My stops are moved to break even after taking out this swing low here. So at this point, I was looking to add one more contract right here, stops above here. It was about a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio to increase my profit on the trade, but we never came back to that fair value gap before taking sell side. So boom, this was the trade right here, and this was the internal sell model within the higher time frame 1 hour sell model, and that is textbook. That is textbook. So yeah, man, that's the trade recap for today. After this sell side liquidity gets taken, it's pretty hands off. We would need to see more higher time frame displacement lower in order to execute off of. One thing to keep in mind, like I said though, is we do have this new week, new day opening gap up here. So there's potential for us to just take this liquidity and start to make our way back up to this gap right here, or we could leave it open and potentially target that draw liquidity for tomorrow. It's all just going to depend on how price reacts to taking this liquidity right here, whether or not we continue to sell off and displace through it, or if we just sweep it and make our way back up to these highs right here and this gap. So But that is the market recap. That's the trade recap for me. That's what I saw in the market today, and that's how I was able to make some profit. And yeah, man. Right now, it's your best higher quality trades are going to be literally just like you have to understand that the market is very bearish right now. And so just playing with that trend is going to be your friend until we see higher time frame confirmation of a reversal. But until then, I'm just expecting bearish price action. So that's kind of my bias going forward through the rest of the week. And yeah, man, we'll see what. Today was also a no news Monday, so able to profit on a no news Monday. It's unfortunate that this first trade didn't pan out, but that is what it is. We were able to I was able to keep a clear mind and re-enter right here, and it played out for me. So that's the market recap. That's the trade recap for Monday, March 10th. Yeah, man, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Hopefully we can get a good trade, good setup tomorrow. There is some high impact news, so that should bring some good volatility within the first 30 minutes of market open. So we'll see what happens. But appreciate you watching. I will see you on the next one. Peace.